The Fraunhofer Pro Codec from Sonox has changed the way we encode audio for online distribution, enabling audio codecs such as MP3 and AAC to be auditioned in real time. Now with version 2, Apple's iTunes Plus codec is included, so you can mix directly for iTunes, ensuring high quality output during the mixing process.
I'm here on the Grace Design stand with Michael Grace to look at the new M905 stereo interface, stereo controller. What would you call it? Stereo controller?
We call it a monitor controller. Yeah, and it's the stereo version. It's our second generation stereo monitor controller. Replaces what was the M904, which was in production for nearly 10 years.
Sure.
So we really started from the ground up, starting with the analog circuitry, a complete redesign of the analog circuitry. As well as the D to A converters and the digital interface sections. So we were able to make substantial improvements in performance in analog and digital domains.
Sure.
As well as increase the feature set for the ever increasing complexity of people's studios. So this is the new remote control interface. We've gone to a TFT display so that we can display more information to the users. This is the input selection area. On this side of the remote we have 3 analog inputs, including a Q input, which is a loop through for a headphone mix.
Sure.
And the talkback will sum into the Q output.
Okay.
By the way, there's a talkback mic built into the remote control, which is also acting as an SPL meter with A and C weightings, so you can keep
useful.
An eye on your
monitoring
levels, and for system calibration using noise.
Sure.
3 analog inputs. Then we have a standard Toslink optical, ADAT input, and multiple pushes on this button toggle you through the various stereo pairs. And SMUX is supported as well for 96 kilohertz.
Right.
SPDIF input, 2 AES inputs, and then lastly a new USB 2 interface, which allows you to monitor from the computer in 24, 192 sample rates. That is the same asynchronous mode data transfer that the M903 uses, which allows the 905 to be the clock master of the USB interface.
Right.
So we don't have to recover a clock from the USB.
Sure.
We can use a fixed crystal, and there's zero
get
jitter.
rid of all that jitter from the computer.
Yeah, no interface jitter from
Excellent.
the computer. So
good.
That's a really good system. As well, we've allowed 10 channels upstream to the computer via the ADAT input and the SPDIF input.
Okay.
So you can actually use it as an input device via USB.
Yeah, excellent.
So now on to the output capabilities. The 905 has 3 complete stereo speaker systems, as well as a subwoofer output. It's a 2-channel subwoofer output that can be configured as a stereo sub or mono sub, and each speaker system can have the subwoofer assigned to it however you want. So you could have one sub that's used on all of your inputs, or you can have 2 different subwoofers for 2 different speaker systems. Okay. So very flexible sub output. No filtering. We'll leave crossover is up to your subwoofer system and satellite system. So then all the basic features you would expect in a monitor controller: mute, a separate sub mute, so you can turn the sub on and off, and if you push and hold, you can solo your sub, which mutes your main speaker, so you could just hear what your sub is doing.
Okay.
Dim and mono, and then monitor to cue, which basically sends whatever you're listening to in the control room to the headphone feed in your studio for your artist. A tap of the encoder button switches the volume control from the control room speakers to the headphone output, and there's a reference headphone amp built into the 905 with jacks available on the front panel as well as on the remote control itself.
Great.
So that's the basic view of the 905.
How much commonality is there between this and the 903 that you've recently revised? You mentioned the USB.
Yeah, those are the We are using the same D-Day converter system as the 903,
Okay.
and the same USB interface system in the 903, except it is a more powerful
Yeah.
multi-channel
Yes.
connection to the computer
Okay.
With the upstream channels. But it's the same basic
Same
underlying technology of
Okay.
the asynchronous mode transfer.
Right. Excellent.
Yeah.
It's a lovely display. Looks really nice.
Thanks, Hugh.
Okay, we need to ask, when is it available and how much will it cost?
Well, we're shooting for shipping by the end of this year.
Right.
And it's $34.95 US.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Good. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you.